Hi, I'm Tashia, and we're live here at NECANN 2019 with Disrupt Boston, and I'm here with a special guest, Peter of... Oh my gosh, I forgot the name that fast, Peter. I'm
That's
so
all
sorry.
right. It's called Howl's Tincture.
Howl's Tinctures.
Yeah, it's howl like a wolf, the sound of a wolf.
Got you. I was going to
Yeah.
say owls. That's why I stopped myself.
Yeah, I love owls also. I relate to them as well. But we have a wolf on our bottle, and
so that's why you got the wolf.
and I got the wolf here. Yeah, I
very
mean,
cool.
I guess here you can see if this is the wolf. But I chose that actually because I started using. I had an eye surgery in 2012 that went south, and the result was chronic pain in my eyes and just anxiety over my ability to keep working, because I worked in the entertainment industry as a concert director, touring festivals, touring concerts. So it was very visual and a lot of responsibility, and I was having trouble doing it. And I have a family, and the symptoms were just disrupting my ability to work and connect with my family. And then when I was recommended I use cannabis, I was like, I smoked weed. I mean, I'm in the entertainment industry, but I'd stopped a few years earlier, because every year, I worked in California a lot of the time, and every year I'd go out and I'd be at a party, somebody would give me a joint, I'd take a hit, and every year is exponentially more potent.
It's getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, to the point one year I took one hit at a party and I was like, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to be here, this isn't what I want. So I stopped using it. It wasn't a big part of my life anyway, but at this time when I had these symptoms and someone suggested it to me, and I told them I didn't think it could work because of my experience, they suggested tincture.
Now, can you tell us about tinctures?
I can. So, I mean, that's the thing about tincture, and I guess this will all wrap around into the wolf eventually, is that, and they suggested tincture, and that's why and then I started making it for myself, because I have I've been making plant medicines of various kinds for 20 years, infusions, tinctures, so I just use the same methods. And then, but the reason why people like it and why I like it is that it's simple to use. So like, here's a bottle. You can just, drop it in your mouth and
so
swallow.
It comes in a liquid form?
Yes.
Now, is this oil-based?
It's oil, so it's cannabis-infused organic avocado oil. So, the other reason people like it is it's consistent. So, like, you take, a milliliter today, and that gives you the relief you need, or, the experience you want. Tomorrow, next week, next year, you take that same amount, you get the same relief.
Okay, so it's dosing.
It's dosable, and one of the things I'd love to share with people is that, cannabis, how it affects you is not related to how tall you are, how much you weigh, your gender identity. It's very unique to your body. So what makes this great is that you can just find what works for you and then consistently use that. And if you're using it for medical purposes and you're having a day where your symptoms are particularly bad, you can increase just enough to meet your needs. And for me, that was important because I needed to be able to stay mindful and present and be able to work. And this is kind of why the wolf came about, was that it allowed me to get back out there and be independent, and the way wolves can be, and sort of take care of myself in the world. But the benefit that I found, and so many of thousands of people use this at this point, and so often the biggest benefit is just what happened with me was I realized I'd reconnected with my family and my friends, because I'd become irritable and frustrated because of my symptoms, and it was causing tensions. And that being able to use the tincture, it reconnected me with my pack, basically, which is like a wolf. They're social animals, and they rely on their packs as well as being independent. So that's
a really dope concept.
That's why I chose the wolf for the label. And
so how did you find out tinctures was like the thing for you?
Well, it was after that experience, and it was recommended to me, and I started using it. After I found the right amount that worked for me, I knew right then.
And how did you find the right amount? Because I was doing a little research. I don't know much about tinctures, so I was like, oh, let me look into this, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of dope. This like takes like really the cannabinoids and like releases them, puts them in the oil. So it's very interesting. But I was like, but how do you know what your dose is? Do you just trial and error? How does this work?
Yeah, I mean, you're in control, which I think is the big thing that most people in our country and culture have been taught. A doctor is going to give you a certain amount. You take it. You come back in a month and you say what happens. They change your dosing, and it's in their control. But in this case, it's in your control, and it's safe in terms of any, it's generally regarded as safe for most people. And so the thing is, the way you find it is, if you're new to cannabis or you're nervous about any of its effects, for the potency we have, I recommend just starting with 0.25 milliliters, and then you just use that. Don't have anything planned for the day. See how it works. A lot of people may feel nothing at that level, but at least you know that, because some people it is a lot of relief. Then if you feel like you need more, another day when you can be free, you go up to half a milliliter, and then keep incrementally going up until you find what works for you. And then the other, for people experienced with cannabis and you know what to expect, you might start that process though at 1 milliliter for this. But really, it is, I think, a little bit of being your own scientist with your own health, and starting at one level and then finding what works for you.
Now, do you have is it different strains? Is it just one strain that you use?
We have 6 formulas. Well, actually, we have 9 formulas, but six different ones, and 3 of them have a double strength option. Because, like I said, some people have severe conditions or high tolerances. They need a stronger potency. But we have a nighttime, daytime, and an anytime. And that's just connected to the source flower. It's related generally. Many of you might be familiar with the difference between the indica family, sativa family, and a hybrid. So really, we've chosen a strain for the nighttime that's a heavy indica, more relaxing. People say it helps them sleep. The anytime is a balanced hybrid, so it won't keep you up at night. It won't put you to sleep. It won't put you to sleep during the day. Or the daytime is a little more uplifting, and people like it a lot during the day for energy. And that was when I first started making this for myself, and then other patients asked me to
I was going to ask you that. What made you want to open this up to other people?
Well, because when I first started making it for myself as a patient in Rhode Island, where I live, I was getting the source material from a co-op. Other patients were asking me about, when they heard I was making it, if they could have some. So I gave them some of my excess. People kept coming back so much that it was more than I could be compliant with the law, but they relied on it. And they were saying they relied on it, so I felt an obligation to continue. And luckily, a dispensary heard about it. They asked to offer it, made an agreement with them, and then it continued. Just people just saying how much it helps them. And one time we'd go out of stock for one reason or another at the time, and I'd get emails just being like, when is this coming back? I depend on this. My life's so much better with it, and it just made me realize this is what I should continue that. I love putting on shows. I think shows can change people's lives, and it's meaningful, but there's nothing quite like having, people, really their lives changed because of what you're making, and that's gratifying, and that's why I do it. Just access to as many people as it can help is really my mission right now.
Yeah, speaking of access, I wanted to talk about this. Now, you said you guys are out of Rhode Island. Now, how do you guys make this accessible to other communities and to people who really need this? Because for me, I had never heard of tinctures before, so it's very interesting to see how it's made and actually the medical properties behind it. But how do we open this up to other people?
Well, there's a long answer, but the short answer is, we have a partner in Rhode Island that's licensed and a partner in Massachusetts that's licensed where we produce out of. So for me, it's about access in terms of just access to the medicine itself is about adult use coming on. We're in 8 medical dispensaries right now, but starting next month, we'll be in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. And then starting next month, some of those will start to be converting to adult use. which means that any adult 21 plus can just go and try it for themselves. And if it helps them, they have access to it. So on that level of just, being able to get it.
And for pain management.
Yeah, for pain management, for relaxation. There's the medical properties, but also, some people just like it before they go on a hike. It's relaxing.
It makes the environment
more fun. So I think there's spiritual uses, there's medical health wellness uses, and then there's people use it for recreation, and all of those are, it's up to you as a consumer, and I feel I encourage people to find what makes sense for them.
All right. And in closing, do you want to leave anything with the people? How to get in contact with you? How to get access to the tinctures?
Sure.
Why tinctures should be for people?
Absolutely. I do. I could talk all day, and I would want to promote, we're us as a brand and selling and all that stuff, but that's we're at Howell's Medicines. Howells.com is our website. But what I want to leave people with, and I'll talk to you, is that we make, the way that Howell's is made is in the same way people have been making tincture for 5,000 years. It's the father of Chinese medicine popularized it. There's a document from 3,500 years ago that basically describes the methods that we use. And then it's gone to from China to India, to the Middle East, to South America, North America, all before the United States was founded. And that's 5,000 years of human trials for safety and efficacy. And I think that's, and most of what's out there is being made using isolates and concentrates, which have only been developed in the last 10 years. And this research studies, as well as what people tell me, is that the efficacy is significantly higher using these traditional methods that retain the full spectrum of the cannabinoids and the terpenes, and even in tincture, the other parts of the plant, even the chlorophyll has benefits for you. And so that's why I'm really advocating for consumers or anyone who's listening to this to consider, when you go into a dispensary or you're choosing what you want to use, ask how it's made, because I personally like to choose the methods that have that time-tested reliability, and we only use organic ingredients, just organic avocado oil, organic sunflower lecithin, and medical-grade cannabis. And that's because I started as a patient. Patients use this with all sorts of compromised systems, and to me, knowing what you're putting in your body is really important. And
Definitely.
So I just recommend people ask when you go to a dispensary how things are made, and you can know. If you choose Howell's tincture, I use it in the years since. My mom now uses it.
Wow.
I let my family use it, and I think that's the standard by which I operate. And I think whether it's us or anybody, you should make sure that the product you're using operates at those high standards.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Peter. It was a pleasure having you on. I'm Tashia. This is Peter, and we're out.
Thank you.